Hello, hello, hello. This is You, Me, and BTC. Tim's ripping some mad clouds over there. How's it going, Tim?
I somehow, inadvertently, and this wasn't planned, somehow was able to do something even douchier than your whatever accent that was. Starting off the podcast with a vape hit, but yes.
Do you still get flavors? Did that crap about like banning flavored juice, did that ever come to anything?
Well, I don't buy stuff in stores ever because everything's overpriced. Everything is the wrong mixture, and I just don't like vape store people normally.
I feel you.
I mean, most of them are glass shops, and it seems like it leans more towards that.
Yeah.
Like, I would rather the person who I'm buying vape juice not obviously have smoked within the last 10 minutes. But no, all the stuff, it's from whatever you introduced me to, the Mount Baker, and they have sales, so I just buy a bunch of it at a time.
So nothing's been banned online then? They can still sell flavors?
Yeah, I don't think it was ever going to be an online thing, because the whole thing is that it's open to children, which it isn't really. But no, did we ever?
Yeah, because children can't get on the internet.
No, but yeah, no, exactly. But this is, I don't think we've brought it right. I may have, but and tell me if I'm yelling too loud. But the whole thing with the and this is kind of funny, just because this is like everything else that the government gets involved in to try to be like, we're trying to make them healthy.
The kids, Tim. Think of the kids.
Well, it's the kids, and then it's also because people are dying. And everybody's getting these, not everybody, but 5 people in a state are getting some kind of lung disease that 3 people die from. What it's from is normally the wax pens, wax cartridges, disposable ones. People will make those. You can fill their own. They'll sell those, but because there's a cheaper way to cut it, that's it. And the news headlines are wax cartridges being cut with cyanide derivative. Some kind of, yeah, well, the cyanide does have an acetate in it, I guess. But that's
so. Hold on.
It's the junk that they're mixing together, because weed concentrate is thicker. It's like an oil, and to be able to keep it one of those cartridges, you need to keep it a little bit more soluble. So they mix that in, and that's the chemical whatever that's giving people lung diseases, or at least
got it. Right.
I believe, or a little bit more than just all of a sudden people are.
That's what I heard. I didn't research it one bit. I rarely do. Apparently, there's impeachment trials going on. I just found out about that today. But
yeah, I mean, that's been happening since 4 years ago. I've been freaking out about a couple things. It doesn't feel like time's going fast. It's just this is still going on. Whatever this is, just thinking about something.
I did hear about the wax stuff or the THC. It was from Ryan Tofill with his own show on our site, Unpopular Opinions. He told me, not on the show, he told me directly how that was happening, and he told me it was something about wax or THC. I didn't know whether to believe him, but I trust you more than him, so apparently that's the case, and it wasn't regular vape juice.
Well, it's because that's also kind of their official story, that's the official news too, but because it, the first thing that happened was they were blaming the vape juice. They're just kind of going with that now, which I think I've heard they're faltering on it, which I'm sure, I don't think a lot of these things end up getting passed. And this is why in America we're always oh, we're so free, we can do whatever we want. It's because we get something new starts, it's pretty free, some people die because people are stupid. And even with regular vape juice, people will inhale 4 of these containers in a day. No, or I've seen people go through jewel pods, and like I've never smoked.
Oh, and those are like way stronger. Like, what are they, like 16 or something? 18?
Yeah, well, because it's nicotine salt, so it's a different concentration. So nobody knows what they're doing. So like, I guess I'll just get the biggest one.
Yeah.
But because they're going with that the first time, they're kind of just sticking with that, and they're doing whatever they feel like afterwards. But it's not really going to get passed. They're not going to ban any of this stuff. They're just going to make the barrier to entry into the business higher, and then the cigarette companies are going to be like, "Oh, I guess we should get with the times. Help Marlboro become a progressive company," and then everyone's going to be loving Marlboro. In like 10 years. Same thing with oil companies are going to do something where they come back into the good graces.
Yeah.
Is there companies like that we just, like, as a society, we're all like, oh yeah, they're terrible, fuck them. Like, where you have like the same anger as against politicians, but most of the time people feel a little bit better just hating like cigarette companies, and I get it, but at the same time,
yeah, I don't know. I've heard they just go into emerging markets like third world countries, and that's where all their profits come from now.
I think China's a big one. I've been on some. I haven't gone on for a while because I said I ordered this stuff in like bulk mostly, but I went on there's like, yeah, never mind. I was about to say there's this like, it's weird thinking about that. There's like a particular cigarette in each country that's like the most popular. Because I don't know what the most popular in America. I would guess something like a Marlboro.
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't even. I mean, the only other brand
cigarette you enjoy versus other besides Hestias, which are like a cigarillo.
I can do American Spirit, but it's not great, especially over time.
I'm kind of talking about the emerging markets with them. I'm interested to see what they do with the vape stuff because
Camel's the other big one. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, Newport's huge. I walk around, I see Newport packs everywhere. A lot of Marlboro like golds, and I always see like weird ads at gas stations for like ones I thought had been dead. I'd be interested. What I was saying, I would be interested to see what they do with the vape stuff, how much they jack the price up of that with taxes and everything.
Yeah,
the cigarettes to the point where the cheapest stuff in a gas station is like $9 for a pack.
Well, while they still have flavored juice online without mad taxes, I know you've got tim.town/clouds if people want that stuff.
They took away my vape mixture. Now, if you do want to, if you want to go buy some juice, some atomizers, some whatever, go to tim.town/clouds.
That's where I started, and I've been extremely happy with them. I don't vape currently, but when I did a lot, and I loved them. So there's that.
Dan was looking down on me.
No, actually, the reason this is not great for a vape promotion, but this isn't even a promotion. Last time I got juice, I might have mentioned it on the show, but I'm pretty sure I told you for sure, Tim. But there was like this box on the counter that was like heavily discounted, like $6 or $8. And I was like, okay. And it had like a black Sharpie star on it. I was like, okay. But it was cheap. And it was the first thing the guy's like, here, look at this one. This one's cheap. I was like, okay. And I was, obviously I love cheap. So I was hooked. And it turns out it didn't come with nicotine. So like I told him which one I wanted, and then I went to the register and he like took it in the back and put his own nicotine in it and then brought it up front and was like shaking it. But I should have known better. I got a flavor called Pop Rocks. I don't even like candy. I've known this forever. I don't like candy flavors. They're too sweet. I hate sugar. That's just not me. Maybe like if it's sour, maybe I could do like an apple, green apple, or peach I've done.
No, you gotta get the menthol with the fruit.
I can do fruit. Yeah, I can do fruit candies, but I cannot do straight candies. And so I got like halfway through this bottle, and I'm just like, it didn't even taste good. I'm sure it had some sort of defect. The VG was probably too high. It was gumming up my vape. Who knows? But yeah. So I honestly didn't even finish it, and I'm just like, I don't really care. I haven't even wanted to in quite some time. But
it's probably the best way to quit is just to get the worst possible quality.
Yeah.
It's so miserable.
Yeah.
You heard it here, guys. You need to kick any kind of addiction, just start going. Just go to the very bottom of the barrel. Just go cheap. Just act like you're like, Daniel, why are you buying $6 bottles of juice?
It's even cheaper on Mount Baker. Mount Baker will give you a bottle for like $3, and it's good. And you can customize the flavors, the PGVG. So there you go. There's the promo.
There, Daniel keeps hitting me.
Oh, so our real sponsor, guys, that Mount Baker is not a sponsor. They're just an affiliate link that we have. But our real sponsor is eToro. We're going to show them off later in the show. We're huge fans of them. Ryan did a plug. I guess I haven't released it yet. It'll be out within a few days, I guess. Man, he was pissed at Alec Baldwin. Ryan thought he was going to be this big new up-and-coming star ready to, do these endorsement deals. And all of a sudden, Alec Baldwin comes charging in, taking our places. So keep an eye out for that episode. It was a pretty good rampage. Have you ever played the game where you like you name two actors or maybe two movies, either way, and you try to like chain them together to connect them? So you're like, this guy was in this movie with this guy who was in this movie with this guy, and you have to connect the two actors.
Nothing just happened. I didn't just hit my elbow on the side of the table.
Just another reason to make sure you're watching the YouTube, not just listening.
I don't want to break other people's things mostly.
Yeah, you got another dungeon there. We got to talk about that in a minute. But I want to know if you ever played that game.
Your question is assuming that I've had a surplus of time with friends where I've been like, how are we going to pass time? I just soak in all these things trying to get. No, I don't know that I've particularly, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I've never actually played it officially either. I've just had some friends randomly comment like, oh, can you connect these two people? But anyway, the reason that came to my mind was because Ryan did it with Alec Baldwin and Michael Jordan. So I guess they're both stars.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem with a lot is you can go to because most of these actors now, of course, we have like younger actors, but this is a little bit of a tangent, but no, it's definitely a tangent. But with the whole like the deep fake videos and stuff like messing around with that, beyond that, you have all of these, like the older actors.
Oh yeah, or the dead ones who are still in movies.
The dead ones are weird, definitely, but it's not a person like wearing something on their face to take wrinkles away. And,
that too, yeah.
Will Smith did it for the movie Gemini Man, I think. I didn't see it. I just see trailers for everything because on YouTube, because I don't put ad blocker on my phone because I'm stupid. So he did it on that, but it had something to do with the story, I think. But then I think Tom Cruise did it in a recent movie where, and I was just thinking about this, like, because all these people they're just going to do these things until they're like 70.
Yeah.
Until, like, there's still roles sometimes for them, but like Harrison Ford's like breaking his leg on like sets.
Yeah.
A young girl from some TV show just died at like 13. I forget who it was. It was something.
Dang.
It might have been one of those like talent shows, though. I don't know. Maybe it was just like she performed. When they did Sauron, who is Christopher Lee, did he finally die? Sorry, Daniel.
Did he die recently?
I think he died a while ago. He was in like World War II. Like he fought in World War II. Yeah.
He when they brought back Lord of the Rings and came to do The Hobbit, they needed him. So he this stuff blows me away. This is why I watch all the special features for Lord of the Rings. I could go on for hours about them. But they didn't even bring him to New Zealand where the film is shot. They just left him in the UK or wherever, somewhere in Europe, because he couldn't travel. And they just left him there and did all of his shots with green screens. So he was in scenes with like 8 or 10 other people, but he was just by himself on a green screen. That stuff blows me away. It's got to be pretty boring to actually watch it like being filmed though, because like nothing is going to make sense. You like record like one line at a time, and you have no idea how it's going to look in the end. You don't even know who you're talking to. Well, I'm sure they do, but if you were just watching, you're like, well, who are you even talking to? Because they're not even in this room, and you know, there's no special effects yet. You know, there's going to be like a giant Rivendell back there, but we can't see it because it's just blue screen. Like, it's got to be pretty boring to actually watch.
Well, that's why it's going to be pretty boring to do at some point. Like, that's why I do kind of understand why we pay them so much money.
Right. Oh, yeah. Because they got to, like, for months at a time, they've got to, like, be committed to this, like, training, away from their families, extremely long hours.
Yeah, well, extremely long, and I mean, I'm thinking of like that's probably my respect for like people like artists now wouldn't be so much the you're gifted. It's more just that you have the whatever perseverance or just the ego that convinces you this is going to be good. It's a project that takes 3 years, and each little moment is so pointless. Like the little bit that I've done doing songs with John or trying to write and just like songs, just doing the same thing over and over and over again, partly because I don't know how to harmonize with stuff. But then making movies with like Joe, like the times where I would help him, and it's just like, no, I gotta do it again.
Yeah.
Set up these lights. We have to wander, and it's.
Sometimes I wonder.
Movies, sorry, what?
Especially for like child stars, like major, like Harry Potter. What's that guy's name? I don't know. It doesn't matter. I'm sure I'll think of it. But and his co-stars as well, or maybe even more so his co-stars, like Hermione and Ron. Like if you're the star, like fine, you could say, all right, I'm making millions. I'll commit to this for 10. How like there's at least 7 movies. I think they split one into 2, so 8 movies. And then, you know, there's obviously pre-production and whatnot. That's a 10-year commitment, and you start out at 9 years old or whatever. Wow, first of all, that's half of your life that you're like signing into a contract. But then even ignoring that child factor, like, how do people, like, think of the average TV show that runs for like 8 seasons, 12 seasons. Like, yeah, I know people drop off and they have to rewrite and, you know, write people out or whatever. But there's also a ton of people that stick around. And it's just like, it's just interesting to me. Like, how do you, like, if this is anything on like a big network, even if it's an average show, if it's on NBC, it's, you know, you're going to need to be paying them a ton. But then, like, after 5 years, they have a ton of leverage to be like, hey, this show is big. It's still on NBC. And I'm like the 3rd biggest star. You need to pay me a crap ton of money. Like that, it seems like they would have a ton of leverage because if there's a 3rd biggest star, you can't just write them out, or not very easily anyway.
This is also where the respect I had for artists, it's not very much. Most of the time, most of these projects are favors. Like, I don't think people are. Maybe they were at some point, but I don't really believe that people were like, I needed him we chose him. It's like, no, okay, you did this movie for this guy, and then this, like, that's the most positive possibility, and the less positive one is just that you're just doing favors for people and you're earning something, and then, I mean, anytime we anything, there's some kind of abuse going on, and then we're just like, no, but these all make us laugh and smile, and so we like these. I
would agree in some cases, especially the older actors that are well known, like you said. I think you mentioned Clint Eastwood earlier, or anyone, Harrison Ford, Hugh Jackman.
He broke his. I think they have a lot more power. I think they have a lot more leverage. But nowadays, it seems like they can just beat people out of shows pretty easily. Like, all right, you want more money? Like, they say, oh, he died. I'm sure.
Yeah, it has happened. I guess I haven't seen enough shows to know for sure. Yeah, I'm sure all of the above has happened. I'm sure there have been people written off, even if they're the second biggest star on a good show. I'm sure that there have been people that have had leverage that said, "Hey, we're on the 6th season here, and this is a big show, and you need me, so pay up." So yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's all happened. I'm sure there have been favors done, but also on the other end of the spectrum, you have movies. I mean, Lord of the Rings was so big, they had to pull in. They had some stars, but they also had to pull in a ton. Like, they had to make stars for that movie, like the Hobbits, and I don't know. Some of them had some background.
Aren't stars now? They kind of got swallowed up by.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, like in some cases they would say typecast. But it's not exactly the same here. It's not like they've been cast into a certain type and they're stuck into that type. It's that they're cast into a single movie and they're stuck in that movie.
Yeah, or for so long, and then afterwards, every single director knows that anytime someone sees them on camera, they're going to go, it's the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, it was so weird watching Wilfred with Elijah Wood. Like,
yeah, him and anything.
Like doing a ton of weed. Like, what?
Doing a ton of weed. Mortensen, the Aragorn guy, they all do movies, but none of them are huge. Like, I mean, he's probably the biggest, still doing like the Eastern Promises, but he did like movies that were like direct to DVD too after that or during it. I think, well, I mean, they probably just made so much goddamn money off of that too that they don't really have to worry about it. I think Elijah Wood has even done like because I've seen him make a few things where he's like attacking other people in like the Hollywood stuff. So I think maybe he's even made enough money that he just doesn't really care now. Like, he just doesn't, like, why would I go? I'm some short dude. Like, my only type is going to be like, I was a hobbit because I was some short dude. Yeah. And I looked like my features were real young. Any other movie, what am I going to get? I'm going to be I'm not going to have this, like...
Part of me wonders, like, why... Like, if Elijah Wood... Actually, I have IMDb right here in front of me. Let me see what he has before Lord of the Rings. So, I think this is in chronological order. So it's starting with the most recent, and I'm scrolling back. So he's done a few little things lately. I don't even know. He was in Star Wars, a TV series, Drunk History, Come to Daddy, a video game, a TV series. Oh, some of these are just guest appearances. He did do 18 episodes on Dirk Gently's. But anyway, so going back to, there is Wilfred in 2011 through 14. And there's a few more in here, but I'm trying to see if he did anything before. Yeah, okay, he did stuff 2012, 2006 through 2011, Robot Chicken. Okay.
Robot Chicken's like a sketch show.
Okay.
They pretty much take again, it's just a recognizable voice.
Got it. But anyway, so I'm 2009. Wow, he did a lot. Happy Feet. I did not know that he did all this stuff. But that's still okay. So he was before Lord of the Rings in 2003-ish. That was the last one. Spy Kids. Franklin for one episode. Ash Wednesday looks like a movie. There's Lord of the Rings again. A few more movies. Chain of Fools, Black and White, The Faculty. Okay, so he had way more experience than I would have guessed. He wasn't a star by any stretch. But yeah, he had quite a bit of experience. All the way back through 92, 93. He must have been a child actor.
Yeah, he was in Flipper. He was in a bunch of movies when he was a kid.
So I just don't know anything about him. Because I was going to say, part of me wonders, like, where do you even start when you're about to make an offer to, obviously, okay, so you're a director or a caster, and Lord of the Rings is going to be huge. It's not a question mark. Even before the much production begins, it's not really a question mark. It's going to be like a multi-million-dollar project or multi-hundreds of millions. So how do you even begin to start like formulating an offer to like the lead star, especially when they're that young? I guess it wasn't like he had zero experience, but still, when they're that young and you're like, okay, we've got this multi-$100 million movie about to drop and I want you to be the star and I'm going to offer you this much money. Like, where do you even begin? Like, you have to, and how do you, what if he really did bail after one movie? Like, yeah, I'm sure they had a contract, but what if he really did bail? Like, then what?
Yeah, then you just, you just digitally do it. No, but just like, what if somebody dies? What if somebody...
Yeah, well, that happened to Dumbledore. They just replaced him. But that's a little different because he...
Yeah, well, no, Dumbledore was like off camera most of the time.
Right,
right. He was always just like some creepy dude in his room.
Like, can you... Like, even if your contract... Like, what's the worst consequence you could put in a contract? So say... I have no idea what these numbers would have been, but say it was like 10 million a year or 10 million a movie for Frodo. Okay. And say he did the first movie, got 10 million. Like, and then say he bailed. Like, what sort of penalty? Like, are you going to take back the 10 million? Maybe they paid him at the end. I guess the reason they don't bail is because they know that they'll make royalties, or they probably hold most of the payment till the end. Maybe it's like 5 million for the first movie, then 10 million, then 15 million. That's probably why they stick around. But anyway, I'm clueless here. I'm just spouting words just so everyone knows. Don't quote me on any of this.
A very deep knowledge of the child film star industry. He was one himself. He was in several RTCS science project movies because that was seen as the best way to explain science to us, was to have us do videos about the names of things, or videos about don't do drugs with talking peanut butter sandwiches. Yeah, what was your classification? I think mine was. Was yours hallucinant? Yeah, because you had a talking sandwich.
That was one of them anyway. We might have had a couple, but yeah, we definitely had people hallucinating in our movie.
Yeah, I don't know what ours was, but yeah, so Daniel, and I mean me to a lesser extent, as I said before, I've starred in several Joe Landon videos. You may have seen some of them on YouTube before they were taken down for taking up too much space. And if you're doing that, especially as a child star, and you do Lord of the Rings, and you know how big, you see how big it is, you're not gonna. That's like the greatest. Like, every single person in the world knows who you are.
Oh, yeah.
And no, I get you go crazy and you can just jump off, but I think it would just be you just never work again. And $10 million is not going to sustain their lifestyle for very long. Just living in Los Angeles, that's going to go away.
Yeah. But that brings you to the other extreme where you're like, if we're so sure that this is a gigantic role and like no one could turn this down, and people are like, everyone wants this, why wouldn't they just go find someone that they could pay $50K for the first movie and $100K for the second movie and $150K for the third movie?
Some of them do. Like there's smaller movies that get big all of a sudden. And then everybody loves them for it. They did it on a shoestring budget and it's just amazing. Look at it. It's like, yeah, I can tell they did own a shoestring.
Yeah.
It's good, but yeah. And they have done that. And then sometimes you do have the person that goes, I want $500 million because it just got way bigger, and then they do flake and they have to replace. And then might have been a good.
What's the most recent movie that you've seen? Some people get all pissy because of CGI. Like, they're like, oh, it's all CGI nowadays. And I agree. It is a little weird. But also, I was thinking, I watched, what's it called? I Am Legend. maybe a few months ago. And there are, at some point, there's like, I don't know, wild animals attacking him or whatever. And they're clearly CGI. And I just remember thinking like that, like 5 years ago, this would have blown me away. Like I never would have even imagined that those were fake. But now, because stuff moves so fast, it's so clearly fake. Like, when I first watched I Am Legend, it never even crossed my mind that any of the animals in there were fake. Never. What? It must have come out like 10 years ago. But now it's just so, like, it's like embarrassingly obvious. And I guess the point there is that just how fast this stuff moves and how, as soon as you make improvements, the old stuff is weirdly obsolete. Like it's weird how like it works one day without any issues, and then it's just crap the next day.
No, I haven't seen the movie for a while. I don't normally like part of what I'm talking about, and just like the perseverance just to get through a movie, and also then just to have someone to do the minutest little detail of a CGI and have just thousands of man hours and millions of dollars poured into a battleship space battle thing, and that's somebody's lifestyle. That's thousands of people, hundreds of people's lifestyles for years.
Yeah, people don't realize like these are going to be some rough numbers, but I told you I could talk about Lord of the Rings special features for hours, and I could. They only had every movie. Well, don't even get me started on The Hobbit. The Hobbit literally was like probably more than half CGI, which is whatever. It looked great. I enjoyed it. Not as good as Lord of the Rings, but whatever. But even before that, Lord of the Rings, there was like something like 100 CGI shots in the first movie, 200 in the second movie, and like 300 or 400 in the third movie. And those take entire, so you got to imagine, call it average at 200 shots per movie, and I don't know, 5-10 seconds per shot. So that's max of like 2,000 seconds of CGI. That's probably a really high estimate. What's 2,000 divided by 60? That estimate is way too high, because that's like the whole movie being CGI.
I don't even know what you're trying to estimate.
Just say half the movie. Okay, say an hour of CGI.
Okay.
That took like a team of 30 people, at least a year, at least, to make. Again, rough numbers, but you got to remember, like, that's not even counting like creating the model is one huge step that takes several months, and there's a ton of models that are thrown out, and then animating the model is a huge step that takes several months, and a lot of the animations are thrown out, and then giving texture to the model is a huge project that takes months, and a bunch of those textures get thrown out. And there's like at least 30, probably 50 or 100 people working on this as full-time jobs, all for 1 hour on the high end of shots in a movie. That stuff just knocks my socks off, I suppose.
I mean, then this is why.
And that's not even. Sorry. Hold that thought.
Yeah.
All I have left to say is that's just one aspect. That's just CGI. That's not counting all the locations that they had to find, all the real actors that have nothing to do with CGI, all the costumes, all the writing, all the marketing is a huge factor. Even like catering on set, the stunts, like making sure all the actors have lunch and makeup. That stuff just blows me away. Sorry, Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I don't know any of the numbers, but even just looking like at old cartoons, animators like that, just drawing stuff.
Oh yeah,
and everything with that. But then this just extends to pretty much anything. But it's like all of this stuff is just a business because. And it's much more of a business machine than it is like an art thing. Because even like looking at like a video game, especially like more
Triple A, they would call it, right?
Huh?
Triple A is what they call a big video game, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
What? Triple A.
Isn't that the term?
No.
I think that's the term they use for like a video game that's like supposed to be like major, like Call of Duty would be Triple A. I'm making that up. There's a term for it.
Call of Duty is a good example. Just like not just designing the multiplayer is a little bit different because you're just kind of designing a map and then putting people inside of it. And I understand all this stuff of how much work that is to render an environment, how much work to figure out like bullet drop for something versus penetration, we'll call it, for blah, blah, blah. But because I think with most like single player games, it's always been this way, but it's moving towards much more of a cinematic versus a story thing because we can do cinematic. It literally, like, you can get this giant screen, get surround sound. I'm playing in a movie. But those kind of creep me out because it's like, the shot of your character waking up after getting knocked out with a dildo, like something just stupid, took so long and so many people spent so much moment on it, it's gone in a second. You like look up and you see like a desk. Yeah. And the way the camera has to move and the shadow on the thing, and it's just all this stuff. And I'm just like, why do you do this? And then it's like, oh, you make a lot of money.
Yeah, they do. They do. Man, I agree. It blows me away. It fascinates me, but it's also as fascinating as it is from the outside. I know it's got to be fairly tedious from the inside, and they do it. They do it because of the money and because I think a lot of them really do love it, and props to them. A lot.
It's fine, yeah, because I've had things, regardless of what it is, where I could like fall into something for like a couple hours, and I think that's what it's not like I have a mad passion to spend a day, an entire year animating this one scene, and every single day I have to drive through traffic, I have to go home, I don't sleep some nights because my stomach is upset. Or like Daniel, he eats too much ice cream, then he can't wake up, and he's groggy, and so he drank too much coffee that day, and his hand was jittering all over the mouse. That's the stuff starts to freak when it's not like I'm scared of a process of making a video game. It's just imagining there's so many other people out there besides me, and I don't want to think about it. Like they have some dumb thing, like the sun while they're driving hits their eye the wrong way, and they get mad for the rest of the day because why is the sun here? And they go and they do a little bit more to this thing. And I'm like, I guess that's what. Are you trying to say that what do you mean? Are you trying to say that it's just that much stress and that it breaks them down? No, that much dedication. And I'm always like, well,
are you saying you admire that dedication or you think it's fake or what?
No, because it can't be fake because they're doing something. Like they are creating something. And it's more, I'm trying to think, it's more intimidating because it's like this person, whether it's a drive or it's I guess I'm just going to do this. And I guess that is why there are heads, like there's directors for things. Like if this person was what we would normally consider as super driven, they'd be doing this for themselves or they'd be doing something like that. But just like numbers of manpower and just sheer because it's just like it's work. It's not a creative thing. And I think did we talk about this last week? Just about creativity, just doing stuff of just
maybe
mash. No, I was talking with John recently, and he was talking about music, and I was talking about writing the stuff, and I was asking him how he when does a song sound good? Like, when does it, do you have the idea and you're like, oh, this is going to flow? And he's like, well, yeah, but not always. Most of the time it's just like, I'm just going to write down a bunch of stuff. I'm going to kind of plod through it and you kind of force it to work.
So here's a question. Go ahead.
You can go.
So we both agree it can be tedious. We also both agree that they have a passion for it and they love their job. I've been there. I have a passion for building websites or some other kinds of coding. And when it works just right, it feels really good. But so now I'm wondering, like, what's the difference? You've worked in a factory. What's the difference? Like, because animating has got to be just as redundant and tedious and sleepless under certain conditions. Animating, or, think of, something else. Say like going on tour as a musician or writing can take a ton of time and it can be really slow for months at a time. Or I don't know, what's some other occupation, like being a doctor, maybe, like it can be pretty tedious and all you do is try to make people better and half the time they just ignore you. I don't know. But what I'm wondering is, like, what's the difference? Why is it that we admire the animator's commitment and his passion, but no one ever goes to like a factory worker who's just cranking out pans and says, "Man, you've got some passion there." Like, what's the difference?
Well, because in my experience, it's because the animator can show up to work consistently and doesn't try to chew and swallow the spit from his chew at his desk. Probably. I mean, no, there's probably something like that. That was a bad attempt.
No, that actually, I think that's part of the answer is that there really is no passion for a lot of factory workers.
Like you're just doing it. Most of the time, yeah, if you're an animator, you didn't stumble into this after getting out of prison, or stumble into this because you got a girl pregnant, or most of the time you don't go, "Oh no, I fucked up. Oh, I'm gonna go get a job with Pixar."
Yeah, exactly. So okay, so to follow up with one more question then. So maybe the factory worker doesn't have a passion. That's why they show up late to work, because they don't actually care. That's why that might be why they smoke and chew way more than they should, because they're not happy and whatnot. Fine. So let's say that's true. But why then would animating be more prone to giving people passion? And why would being at a factory not really give people passion?
I'll have to make. I didn't mean to necessarily say they were smoking shit, like I said, because I'm over here vaping, and
well, that's why I said more than they should. More than they should.
Yeah, well, because, and also saying they all show up to late work or to work late, wasn't necessarily true. Because I saw people and I got pissed at them, because they would be in the factory and they'd be like, "I can do this the quickest out." And I'm like, I don't care. Why are you making more work? And that's probably part of it. Although that's why people hate any people in all kinds of different jobs, is somebody outperforms the other people. It's just in certain jobs, and the reason why we look up to certain jobs more is because that kind of attitude can get you places. In a factory work, that can't. There's a very short ceiling for where that gets you.
Why?
Because they're not going to go, "Oh, he runs the hand press really well without cutting his fingers off. Let's make him the supervisor."
Do you think, does that happen why is that any different than animating? I'm sure there's plenty of people that build dust clouds just perfectly and they never advance.
No, yeah.
So that's why I'm trying to figure out the difference.
I don't think that's true, because there is something of an art to that. There's a creative part to. Is
that the only thing then? It's art? Art is the only way to get passion?
You can progress in a fact. You can become one of the welders. The best job in there was the janitor. Just he didn't have to be watched to do his work. He would go around. He would pick up garbage pretty much all day because there was just constantly stuff. But it was definitely an easy job because I did that a couple times because they trusted me because I didn't have a record. But there's what I was saying with it's more a business and not so much an art. It's because it is so much about money now, but there's something creative about making that versus making the corrugated edging on a cookie pan. And you can unless you're inventing new ways of corrugating the cookie pan, or unless you're getting better at doing that and then kind of progressing. Oh, I want to make even deeper cookie. Like, nobody wants to buy deeper cookie pans. That might happen with an animator.
It is really the art. That's literally it. The art is what gives people passion, and if there's no art, there's no passion.
It's what we were talking about before about like someone. I have their vision, which is a thing, but it's kind of a pretentious way to say it. But their vision of going, I can plan this out so that after 3 years, like me, you tell me to make a movie, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how to start. Someone has a plan from, all right, we're going to start this day, you go to this. And this is why there's so many people involved, because most of the time it's not something one person can do. And also the kind of person that's going to be good at directing a movie isn't necessarily going to be the person that's good at organizing the production of the movie or the filming of the movie or whatever. Like that's why you have chains of command. That's why you don't need a chain of command for a guy to press a button. You just have somebody who goes, get to work, hurry up. And then you have me next to you going, all right, man, just slow down just a little bit. They won't yell at you, I swear. And then I break the press multiple different times. That's why the big difference I would say is there is creation. We lose some of the creativity because for the same reason, because there's so many people involved, it just becomes we're going to make the emoji movie or the new Lion King. I saw part of the new Lion King, and it's like, it's photorealistic, but it still doesn't look real whenever they move around because the animals they're all graceful and they're not stuttering on anything. There's no flies, and it's just, I do want to see that, but I mean, whatever. It's a movie's a movie. A movie is just something to distract you for a certain amount of time. It doesn't really matter. As far as, I can't make a convincing argument that it matters that you should have something that sticks with you later, because sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. True. I had nightmares from seeing the part in E.T. where he runs away from the federal officers at the beginning, and that wasn't a good experience for me because of his stupid squealing, whatever runaway thing that he does. But
so is that the best we can come up with? Is just art? That's it. Art. When people create art, they tend to have a passion for it, and they tend to.
No, it's just there's a creativity. Like I think there is a little bit more of a difference between and I'm not talking about art, because I think.
So okay, hold on. So let me make sure. So you're saying it's not strictly art; it's more what's the difference between art and creating?
Like art, I think is what do you mean by art? Because I guess you would probably consider that, because, okay, we'll see something closer than an animator and a press operator. There's a press operator, but then maybe there's a guy that makes metal works, like sculptures of metal. He keeps grinding stuff.
Right.
It's more the dirt. Like, that's still a creative thing. You're not having somebody tell you, well, yeah, I mean, that is a difference, because the animator's probably like, yeah, no, just make the pigeon fly. Do it this way. If you try to get all creative with it, we're going to fire you. Yeah.
So I bet those exist. Yeah.
Maybe I'll come full circle and say they're not. They're both just as bad.
Well, I think both. Maybe the answer is that passion can exist and passion cannot exist in both. Like, if you're an animator, you might have creativity, and that will drive some passion, or you might not have creativity or the option, the ability to be creative, and that might diminish your passion. And the same thing could be true of metalwork. You might be given the option and ability to be creative, and that might drive your creativity or drive your passion. You might not be given the option to be creative, and that might not drive your passion. I think we're using the word art and creativity kind of interchangeably, but I think creativity is probably a good way to make it even clearer. Like, the reason you have this passion is because you get to create something. Is it that simple?
Yeah, it's yours. And there's probably the better differences to make between like an independent operator, creator, whatever they're doing, even if it's like fishing. Like there's, and I don't want to get too much of just like praising like a simple life idea of, well, this like we should all just be farmers and then everything will be fine. But like there's a difference between being like, you'd have to go back hundreds of years in America, but think of like Vietnam, like just a fisherman in Vietnam versus a dude working on a commercial like dragnet line out in the ocean. Like there's just a difference to what your life is, and I think the more room you have for creativity, whether that's creating an art or just doing a different thing with how you want to make your living. That seems,
So we can wrap it up here because this discussion could go on forever. But part of me wonders if maybe next week we'll get into it. Who knows? Part of me wonders if we're still missing something, only because I feel like, I'm not going to try to find examples this second, but I feel like there must be tons of examples of passion that we could find that don't really seem to have much creativity involved. So I wish it was that simple. I wish we could just say if there's creativity involved, that tends to drive passion. But I feel like that we could find plenty of examples where there's not much creativity and still people, for whatever reason, get excited about something or want to do something, even if it's maybe not creative. And so anyway, I won't hash that out right here, right now, but I'll keep it in the back of my mind and maybe get back to it on the show sometime. I guess, yeah, the essence there would be looking for examples of people that have passion, even though they might not really have creativity. We'll see.
Now, listeners, send us all of your uninspired podcasts.
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Joe.
Guys, we're going to wrap it up here, but of course, we do have to show off eToro to you real quick. So let me go and flip on my screen share. I think we figured that Tim's is not going to work, but you know what? I might be able to turn on my screen share for... Oh, that's weird. Oh, the video lost it. Let me screw around here for just a second. The video, anyone watching on YouTube right now is just seeing a blank screen. There we go. There you go. Okay, so I'm also going to share it with Tim if I can figure that out in a quick manner. And while I figure that out, Tim, tell the good people about eToro.
Oh, good people. Have you ever wanted to meet more good people? Well, head to eToro. No, start out, and this is a nice way of having me see me. It's thank you for that. No, eToro, it's a trading platform. Okay, so you go on there, you want to be able to trade coins, you can do all that. You look at the screen now, you can get Bitcoin, Ethereum. Daniel's probably losing. I can't check mine right now because I am in somebody else's cave. But, and also, I'm doing hand motions now that I'm aware that I'm showing up on the screen.
No, you're not. You're not on the screen. It's just my screen now.
Good. I'm just looking at myself in the corner.
Is that what you're seeing? You're seeing my eToro dashboard, right?
Yeah, no, you are. You are correct. I'm stupid. But as we can see, Daniel's, as I said, is doing bad. But what makes eToro different, first off, what our most funds come from me beating Daniel with virtual money, which is the first time I've ever had the honor of winning something. I should get some kind of a medal for this, but whenever you sign up for eToro, they give you $100,000 worth of virtual currency to kind of trade, look at markets, look at graphs. But their other thing they do, along with the graphs, you can also copy other people's trades. And
this is new. We weren't allowed to talk about it for a month or two, but now it is officially launched and ready to go. So
Daniel had to yell at me several times because I kept on being like, "You guys get to share. This is so much fun with all your friends." But you can follow other people's trades. You can look at what they're doing. You say, "Oh, this man on the screen here, he looks like he makes all the money. Maybe I should look at what he's doing. Maybe I should follow his trades."
Let's take a tour here. Let's see what they tell us about copy trading. Use Copy Trader I clicked too early. To automatically copy trades, it basically said. So yeah, switch to your virtual portfolio, which we already did.
Cool. Criteria.
Select virtual portfolio. View stats to see a trader's portfolio performance and more. So yeah, you can look at other traders. Nicholas Merten. Copy. All right, I guess we're doing it, eToro. Let's do it. Copy up. How much do I want to copy? Amount. I don't have enough to copy now, so I kind of broke the tutorial, but go to see the trader you just copied and view his trades. So there you go, guys. I broke the tutorial because I've already spent all my money, but that is the idea. You can see their trades, their performance, how many people are already copying them, and their portfolio, and your portfolio will do the same thing. So, yeah, let's bump this down to just $500. I'll copy Nicholas Merten with $500. Oh, wow, that's kind of cool too. Stop copying if the value drops below 300. So if he sucks and loses 40% of my money, I'll stop copying him. Guys, that's pretty cool. And we just figured it out. I've never looked at this dashboard before, and we just figured out how to copy a trade. If you're still unclear, it copies based on percentages. So, you know, they might have a $10,000 portfolio, and I might only have 500, but it matches the percentages. So if they put 10% of their money into Bitcoin, then my little 500 here is going to put $50 into Bitcoin. So that's why I can pick whatever amount I want, and it'll just copy the percentages. And if he sells 1% of his Bitcoin, it'll sell 1% of my Bitcoin. So let's go ahead and copy. There we go, guys. And I don't know, started copying, cool. I don't know how that shows up. There it is. In my portfolio, I have a whole line for investing in Nicholas Merten. So, I don't know if I'm configured to be copied yet, but I want to do that for you guys. They told me I can set it up somehow. I'll get in touch with them to make sure that I'm available as a featured person to copy. And you guys can copy me. And I know it looks bad. But hey, we can only go up from here. So
yeah, it's the calm before the storm.
Exactly.
I talked about eToro. I just saw the mic was muted. I'm not sure when I cut that out.
I would have heard you, or I would have told you if there was silence. Okay. So we heard most of you.
I didn't know if you were being nice, but yeah, no. As Daniel just showed, and what I've always said about this is you can get as detailed as you want with eToro. Like I was talking about the graphs, normally that's what we're looking at because Daniel's seeing how I'm beating him. But then you can also, I could figure out how to go copy somebody and then make whatever they're doing. And again, don't take anything I say as
not investment advice by any stretch of the imagination. Tim, it's to wrap us up here. I'm running really low on funds, but I'll say $100 into two different currencies of your choice. I can even go to the full list so that you can, if you want to force me to buy something that I've not even wanted to buy yet, you can do that. So here's the full list. Tezos, here, I'll give you even one day isn't that helpful. I'll give you a 1 week chart here to look at. Tezos is up a bit. Zcash, Tron, Neo, EOS, Stellar, IOTA, Cardano, Ethereum Classic, Litecoin, Dash, Ripple, Bcash, Btrash, also known as by some people, Ethereum, and Bitcoin.
Well, I don't have the memory to remember if they've treated me badly, and I haven't checked it for a while. So, but I'm going to go with my normal standby of 100 in Stellar.
Okay.
And then I guess Litecoin.
Open trade, Stella. 100 Stellar and 100 Litecoin. If you're new here, guys, I've been letting Tim tell me how to invest only because I want an excuse if I lose. I want to say, well, that's because you told me to do all this crap.
See, I let him win. This is like playing with a mentally challenged child. So, no, don't worry.
Guys, thanks for joining us. This has been You, Me, and BTC. We will see you. I've been saying Thursday, but I don't think I've been able to release until Friday because I have to find time to render the video and the audio and stuff. So anyway, I don't know if I've been saying Thursday, but it's really been coming out Friday. So be it. Regardless, we'll be back next week, whatever day it is. We love you guys and come back sometime. Thanks a lot, eToro. You can find them at youmeandbtc.com/trade. Ryan said we're starting a competition to see trying to beat Alec Baldwin. We want more people going through our link than Alec Baldwin's links. So make sure you hit up youmeandbtc.com/trade and get your $100,000 virtual portfolio. It literally takes less than a minute if you type fast. So get that, start trading, start copying, and we'll see you next week. Peace out, guys.
Bye.